20 Tarot Scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's have a look, see what the month ahead has in store for you. So as I always say to everybody, when I am doing a reading for one of the signs, I always say this, okay? If I am reading for the sign of Libra, I am reading for the energy of Libra. That's what I'm tapping into. So whether you're a sun, moon or ascendant Libra, this is for you in some way, shape or form. It may not resonate with everybody and it might not be that all of the messages resonate for you. And that's fine, okay? With that said, your actions and options this month, you have the Page of Wands. So this is really about you getting started, but it feels like and yes, it is you getting started on something, but it feels like you're getting started off the back of either a conversation that you have or a message that comes through. It does feel like your actions this month are going to be guided by the conversations that you're having or the interactions that you're having with people. I personally feel like you are ready to get started on a project. Maybe this is a book, maybe it's a blog, maybe it's a website, maybe it is you know, you decided to start your own YouTube channel, who knows, right? But whatever your personal project is, that thing that you've been saying, you know what, I'm gonna do that, this month it's kind of like the energy or the impetus that you need to get started on it or to move ahead with something. It comes from an external source. So it kind of feels like this month there is going to be a lot of communication and a lot of interaction, but your actions are going to be not forced, but they're going to be initiated almost, do you know what I mean? But like from an internal point of view, but from from like a conversation that you have or a message that comes through, and it will be specific to you. It will be something that makes you kind of go, yeah, do you know what, that feels like the push that I needed, or that feels like what I was supposed to hear or what I needed to hear to get going with something. For your money and materials, you've got the Seven of Cups. So money could be a bit of a contentious point this month. Now it could be as well, maybe the idea that you want is going to take a certain amount of money to get started with, or it's going to take some kind of investment. If that is the case, just be very sure that the money that you have is money that you can safely or comfortably kind of put out at this moment in time. And the reason I say that is because you might not necessarily get the rewards or the benefits from whatever you invest in this immediate sort of moment. It might be further down the line where you start to see, actually, you know what, yes, it was a bit of an investment, but actually now it starts to pay off. You won't see any results from it this month. It won't be until much later down the line, possibly well into, I would say, Sagittarius season, or maybe even later. So just keep that in mind. When it comes to finances, if it's loaning money to someone or loaning money from someone or even an institution, this is not the month for it. Also, because this falls right next to that Page of Wands, it could be that somebody is hitting you up for money this month, and whatever it is that they're saying the money is for, the chances are it's not that. So again, you know, if you be cautious about where you're putting your money this month, all right? When it comes to your physical health, you might find this month that, I mean, respiratory stuff. I mean, again, I'm not a medical doctor or a professional. I can't give you that kind of advice, but it looks like it might be respiratory stuff that comes up for you this month. Don't freak out, you know, but obviously find ways to look after yourself in that way. I mean, I tell everybody and anybody that will listen, oregano oil, although it tastes like, you know, one of my friends called it Satan's tears, which I can definitely resonate with. It's absolutely brilliant at working on all of the upper airwaves, the throat, the nose, you know, all of the larynx and stuff. Larynx is here, I think. You know, it's really great for all of that stuff. So have some of that on hand. Check all the instructions about how to use it. But yeah, I think that's probably where you want to watch out for this month. So, I mean, what can I advise against that? Maybe think about your cardio, or something that's going to assist your respiratory system. For your physical dwelling and your home, I'm going to be really honest with you. I feel like there's a lot of coming and going this month, but maybe not necessarily in the best way. You might want to find a way to limit the contact that you're having, or the amount of foot traffic that's coming in and out of the home. For your communications and conversations, you have the Emperor card, right? So this is interesting because it looks like a lot of you are really thinking about your commitments at the moment. It feels like a lot of you are starting to think about what you're committed to and how long you actually feel like you want to be committed to it. This has been kind of like a running theme for you guys over the last sort of, let's say, 8 to 9 weeks, and I feel like it's going to culminate, or certainly reach a fever pitch or a head here in September. So it's going to be a really interesting month in regards to that. It could be as well, for some of you, this might be a father figure that you are interacting with. There might be something going on with a boss where you guys aren't able to see eye to eye, or you're not able to reach satisfactory conclusions. My advice to you with the, you know, not that you're here for advice, you're here for your reading, but you know what I mean. I think the best way for you to navigate this kind of energy is to stand firm. You've got to hold to the point that you are making, and don't back down. And you know, sometimes the thing is, when we clash with people in authority, I don't necessarily think it's when we back down that we truly earn their respect. I think it's when we stand up to them and say, no, you know what, I'm sorry to say, but this time you are in the wrong, or I believe what I'm talking about so strongly that I'm not backing down. Sometimes that's the way that you earn respect from people, right? So something to think about. For your heart and half, you have the Page of Swords, right? So that's the second page that comes up for you. Now, it does look at this, right? So for those of you that are married, specifically for those of you that are married, it looks like there could be some challenging conversations this month, possibly about money, and maybe about some of the things that you are deciding that you want to invest in, or maybe some of the avenues that you do want to go down. It's something that you are going to have to think about. Now, when you're talking about the, you know, the dualities or the repetitions in tarot, 2 pages together represents disquiet, which means this could be a month where you're having a lot of challenging conversations. And it kind of makes sense, you know, when you think about what happens in the 7th house in astrology. That's your partnerships, your relationships, your open enemies, your competitors, you know, people that you are, you know, not against, but people that are opposite you in some way, shape or form. Now, Mars is going to go retrograde this month in your 7th house, in his own sign of Aries. So, you know, you guys are going to be feeling this especially, and it looks like, look, the cards are backing up what's happening there. It looks like your communications and conversations with bosses, possibly even partners, are going to be quite intense this month. So it's really important that you speak clearly about what it is that you are doing, where it is that you're going, and when you feel something strongly, if you feel not to back down, make sure that you stand your ground with it. All right, for those of you that are single, again, it looks like there's maybe a work-based flirtation. But I'm going to be honest, I feel like this person is either quite childish or they're a bit of a teacher's pet. And I kind of get this impression that you guys, you know, things might have been good and then all of a sudden they pull rank on you. Just something for you to be aware of. For your weeks of the month, let's see what's going on here. All right, so for your first week of September, you have the Sun card. This is beautiful. Underneath the Page of Wands. So a lot of you are considering travel this month. I'm not entirely 100% sure you're going to get to your destination, but I do believe that you are planning something, and it looks like something that you're planning for the, you know, for almost like for the longer haul or further down the line. Now, the fact that you have the Sun card underneath the Page of Wands, whatever it is that you're moving on, whatever it is that you feel that sort of inner drive or impetus to go after or to do. You're heading in the right direction. The Sun card is basically saying you are following your inner light, and this is the way for you to go. So no matter what comes up with who or what anybody else thinks or feels about it, you've got to follow your own inner yearning. And like I said, it might come off the back of a conversation. I mean, I'll give you an example. For me, nearly 3 years ago now, I can't believe it. I mean, Radiant Reality is 4 going on 5 years old. And I've been doing the whole professional gig for 5-6 years now, so that's really interesting. But the reason I'm telling you this story is because 3 years ago, when I was in my full-time job, I literally, I mean, work just got to the point where it was unbearable. And it's interesting because there was a lunar eclipse in my sign, and it was very strong. It was a very strong one, and I got to the point where I was like, do you know what, this just doesn't work for me anymore. This whole vibe, this whole energy, all of the people that I work with, it just got to a point where I was like, no, you know what, fuck this, I'm out. And I walked. That was it. When I say I walked, I mean I literally walked. I got up off my desk, I went home for my lunch break, and I never went back, and that was it. So, and that's me. Like, when I do something, I do it, you know, I'm all in. And this month it's going to be that kind of energy. Whatever comes up, no matter who or what challenges you, or, you know, kind of makes you feel a certain way, you've got to follow that inner compass, that inner knowing that now is the time to do this. For your second week of the month, you have the Fool card right underneath the 7 of Cups. You've got to be careful with your money this month, right? So this is a month where financially somebody could either pull the wool over your eyes or attempt to pull the wool over your eyes. You got me as your secret weapon. Ow. Right, so this is something for you to be aware of. And remember what I said, if someone's hitting you up for money this month, the chances are they could really lay it on thick, you know, really in the heart space, like, oh, you know, I haven't got money to eat, and and it's like really bad. And then you find out that they, you know, went and spent the money on a pair of Jimmy Choos, or do you know what I mean? Like, it's a really poor example, but you get my drift. It also, because it's underneath the 7 of Cups, this is not a month to overindulge, okay? And when I say overindulge, I don't necessarily mean just like things like drinking or smoking or whatever. It could be like you are the one that is being very frivolous with your money. So it's something for you to be really aware of, like your own spending habits and patterns this month. For your third week of the month, you have the Empress card right underneath the Emperor. Now, this is a very interesting energy, because I said to you, I feel like the move that you make in a specific direction this month is going to come out of some sort of conversation or some sort of communication or interaction. And for me, it was that. Like I said, you know, my whole work life just became unbearable, and so in the end I just said, you know what, why am I doing this? You know, this, fuck that, fuck them, fuck this, I'm out. I'm going to honor myself enough to say that I deserve better than what I'm getting. So you might find that it gets to a fever pitch this month. Now, I don't advise everybody just to up sticks and walk out of their jobs. Obviously, I had Radiant Reality to go straight into. You know, I already had something set and ready to go. And it kind of came to that point where I had to choose. So, you know, you might be presented with a similar option this month. This might come up for you. The fact that you've got the Empress and the Emperor, that's masculine and feminine energy. And when they come together, this is where you get growth. It's kind of like a new moon. There is a big new start or a fresh beginning in some way, shape or form that is very likely to come off the back of a conversation, maybe some commitment that you are, you know, like when somebody tries to not manipulate you, or maybe manipulate you, or force you into a corner, like you have to say yes or you have to do a certain thing. It might come out of an energy like that this month, where you just say to yourself, do you know what, I actually feel like you're trying to maneuver me to do this, and you know what, I'm going to go in the completely opposite direction, or I'm going to go in the direction that suits me, that feels like what I need from my life, in and for my life. So really interesting, because look, this comes up right underneath your communications. There is a very fertile new beginning coming. Look at this. You've got the Sun, you've got the Fool, you've got the Empress. These are gorgeous cards. These are, it's not that they're bad cards. It's just the mix of them can be a challenge to get through, but I promise you, if you navigate this month in a way that is really true to yourself, the growth that you see from it at a later date is going to be immense. All right, so whatever it is, when it comes to this third week of the month, sow your seeds. And then finally, in the fourth week of the month, you have the Magician card. So there's a lot of growth, a lot of power, a lot of self-actualization this month. And look at this. I think when it comes to those of you that are single, like I said, and for any of you that have a work-based sort of thing going on, it does feel like someone's going to try to pull rank this month. If you are sleeping with the boss, or you know, maybe you and a manager are getting it on or whatever, be very cautious, because this could be the month where they try to flex their professional muscle and you're not having any of it. For those of you that are partnered, it looks like you and your partner will find some sort of communication. It looks like you guys will be able to find some sort of reconciliation, but it may not necessarily be for the result that you want. You know, sometimes the way that we find a resolution to the issue that we have in our relationship is to end the relationship. Now, I'm not saying this is for all of you, but it, you know, it's certainly an energy that's there, because this month, and we've seen this process for you guys for a while now, you've been going through this process of really, you know, really self-actualization. You're going through this process of finally acting and, you know, doing and interacting in a way that is actually beneficial for you or puts you forward, which is a very rare thing for Libra, right? So it's a really, really interesting energy that's coming up. For your key to the month, you have the Five of Cups. So this month, something is going to have to give. Something is going to have to be let go. Something is going to have to be phased out. Remember, the Five of Cups always says that whatever it is that you want is on its way in. But in the meantime, you're going to have to let something go or lose something for the moment, right? And sometimes that's the way it is. You know, we feel like we lose in the here and now, but in the long run, we gain so much more. So it's going to be an interesting month for you guys. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Take care, and I'll see you soon.